Okay, so welcome to those of you who are watching this video today. This is going to be a rifle basics video. So the first thing that I'm going to start off with are the different parts of the rifle that you will be using. Now, throughout the video, I will be referring to the following pieces of your rifle. This part right here, where the rifle is thinnest, where I'm grabbing with my right hand here, where if this were a real gun, this is where the trigger would be. This area right here is known as the neck of the rifle. This black piece right here is known as the bolt. Then on the very end, the front of the rifle, this is what we call the nose of the rifle, and on the opposite end, this is what is known as the butt of the rifle. So, neck, bolt, nose, and butt of the rifle. And then other than that, sometimes we will also use the strap of the rifle as well, which is this, oftentimes it's leather, sometimes it's plastic if you're using a cheaper rifle. And so other than that, you'll also notice that there are some pieces where the metal kind of connects the strap with the rest of the rifle. This is known as the clip of the rifle, which is important to tossing. And then somebody is torturing their dog back there apparently. So anyway, those are the pieces of the rifle that you will need to know for this video. Now, as a new rifle spinner, one of the things that you're going to want to make sure that you do is take care of the piece of equipment that you are using. Now, the number one rule to make sure that your rifle lasts as long as possible is to make sure that you are spinning it over a soft surface. You never want to ever practice with your rifle on the sidewalk or over blacktop or over any other hard surface, because when you drop the rifle, and you will drop the rifle, just like I'm sure you've dropped flag many times, you don't want it to hit a hard surface, because number one, that is, it's going to tear up the ends of your rifle, and number two, it's also going to increase the chances that you break your rifle when you drop. Even if you're doing a small spin, if you drop it on a hard surface, it really does dramatically increase the chances of a break on your rifle. Now, aside from that, you're also going to want to make sure that you take care of your tabs, or not your tabs, your nose and your butt. You're going to notice that there's tape over top of the nose and the butt. You're going to want to make sure that that tape stays in good condition. Mine actually is looking in about a way that it is going to soon need to be replaced. And in order to replace the tape, all you need to do is go to a local hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot, and you can find a puck of tape that looks like this. This is electrical tape. This particular puck cost me about $1 at Home Depot. If you want white or red or blue or any other color like that, those special types of pucks will cost you about $3 a piece, but it depends on whatever you're spinning with your rifle. Now, that said, you're also going to want to make sure that the pieces of your rifle also are staying nice and tight. You may notice that there are some screws that are in your bolt. You're going to want to make sure that these are tight. And if your screw comes out, if you lose it, or if your screw breaks on the inside after an impact, you can replace the screw with tape. Believe it or not, tape actually lasts even longer than screws because it has a better shock absorption for when you're dropping. And then aside from that, there are also, if you're using a leather strap, there are also little screws that keep it kind of tight and everything. And you're going to want to make sure that those stay nice and tight as well, because they do loosen over time. And if they come out, especially in the middle of spinning, and they just fly away, good luck finding them because they're so small. So just, as you're spinning your rifle, keep a watch for cracks, keep a watch for loose screws on any part of the rifle, and just watch what the condition of your tape is on the ends as well. And that is a basic guide to how you take care of your rifle. Okay, so the first move that I'm going to teach you how to do with a rifle is the most basic move that everybody starts off with. They are known as consecutives. Now, consecutives may be known by other names in different schools. Some schools call them butt spins, some schools call them rifle drop spins, but here at Heritage we call them consecutives. So what a consecutive is just a repeat of the same movement over and over and over again consecutively. and they look like this. Now, when you are starting your not drop spins, your consecutives, the way that these work, you're gonna go ahead and start with your right hand underneath the neck, your left hand on the nose, and you are gonna start by pushing down with your nose, or pushing down on your nose to this angle, okay? So this is push and 1. Now, when you are pushing down, you are gonna then lift the nose back up as it spins around, and this is about the point where you are gonna let go. So you push around to here, and then you're gonna let go, and then the rifle is gonna come around. Every single count of a consecutive is going to be in this position when the nose is facing and pointing straight down toward the ground. So you're gonna push, release, and catch right here. You're gonna wanna make sure that you watch the neck of the rifle, because that is the most important part of the rifle when you are doing consecutives. So keep your eye on the neck as you do it. But again, you just push, release, and catch. Now, the key to consecutives is making sure that you keep up that momentum as good as possible. If you slow down, it's gonna be harder and harder each time to do the same motion over and over again. So keep up that speed, but push, release, catch. And then now that you've caught it here, then try to lift it back up and catch it again and again and again. Now, these are a muscle memory move. Just like how it took a lot of time for you to gain the motor skills to be able to walk as a child and to run, this is just gonna take some fine tuning and exercise over and over and over again. So my advice is try to just get to your first successful spin, and after you spin there, try to do 2 in a row, just 1, 2, and then that's good. Even if you drop it a few times, most people do. And then just try to get more and more and more. After you do 2, try to get 3 down, and then just keep increasing the maximum number that you can do in a row. And over time, after a few hours of doing these, you should be able to do quite a few actually. It just takes a lot of practice. Now, when it comes to if you are really good at consecutives on your right side, this is typically the easier side because it's easier to catch right here in the neck. It's just an easy place for your hands to kind of fit into. If you want to do left consecutives, they are significantly harder. You will actually switch your hands like this so that your right hand is on the butt and your left hand is now on the clip of the rifle right here. And then you will kind of do the reverse where you push, release, catch, and you catch right here. So that's how you do left consecutives. Same principle. Now, one common mistake that a lot of people make when they are doing their consecutives is a lot of times their hand will tend to move up the rifle. Their hands might be here, and then slowly you'll notice that your hand travels further and further up the rifle, kind of like this. If that happens, what you're going to want to make sure that you do, again, just as I told you, watch the neck of the rifle, and if your hand is traveling up, just try to re-grab where you want your hands to go. It'll be a little bit tricky at first, but as you do more consecutives, it'll become easier for you to continuously readjust where your hand is at. And again, the more times you do this, the more fluid and natural and easy it is to do this correctly. So again, good luck, and just try to practice as much as you can. Now, the next point where most people begin learning after they have mastered consecutives is they start going into tosses. The next move is something that you should attempt after you can do about 50 consecutives in a row without dropping. And this move is one that I teach to people in order to prepare them to start learning how to toss. And it is a move I just made up called the 360 toss. And so what a 360 toss is you are just going to spin, you're going to toss the rifle and it will spin 360 degrees before you catch it. So the rifle just goes in a complete circle and it looks like that. Now, when you are doing a 360, it's going to exercise a lot of the things that you're going to need to be doing as you toss. First of all, your hands are going to be in the exact same place as where they would be when you toss. You're going to have your right hand on the butt of the rifle, and the left hand is going to be on the clip of the rifle, right there. Now, when you do a 360 toss, you are going to push down with your right hand, push down, and then you're going to twist with your left, push and then twist. And then when the rifle is about here, this is where you're going to let go. And then you're going to want to make sure that you watch the neck of the rifle as it comes around. So I push, I release, and then I'm going to try to catch the rifle with my right hand now on the neck and my left hand on my nose. So this is your normal catch position when you do most tosses on rifle. Toss position, catch position. Toss position, catch position. So again, a 360 looks like this: push, release, catch. When you are doing this, you are mastering a few different skills. You're going to want to make sure that you are catching it in the correct spot, first of all. If your hands end up somewhere different when you catch than the neck and the nose, then you're going to want to make sure that you exercise trying to catch with your hands in the correct spot. Once you've mastered catching in the correct spot, then that is really going to help you out when you try to learn more complicated tosses. So before you try any sort of big toss whatsoever, master your 360. You should be able to do these easily. They're a pretty basic move, and most people pick them up within, a few minutes. But again, make sure that you are able to do these well. You should be able to catch 10 360s in a row without dropping before you move on to more complicated tosses. So, the next part of the video that I'm going to cover is how to do tosses, starting with the small single toss, and then I will teach you also how to toss larger tosses as well, safely and consistently. Now, this is the part of rifle tossing that I think a lot of people are most eager to get to. So I just want to make sure that before you even attempt your first toss, you're going to want to make sure that number one, you are able to do 50 consecutives in a row without dropping. And number two, you should also be able to do 10 360s in a row without dropping. If you are able to do both of those things, then you are basically ready to move on to your single toss. Now, for the single toss, I'm going to step back so you can see everything that's going on here. Just like a 360, you're going to start with your right hand on the butt of the rifle and make sure that your left hand is on the clip of the rifle. Now, for a single toss, it is going to go through 2 counts. You're going to push and release on count 1, and then you're going to catch on count 2. So altogether, a single is 2 counts. A single, despite its name, is not one spin. That's what a 360 is. So a single, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's actually going to be 2 spins. So when you toss a single, it may be easier for beginners to prep a little bit. And then you're going to push down on 5, 6, 7, 8, and is when you push, and then you're going to release on 1 about here. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 is when I'm releasing. And then the rifle will come around, it'll spin once, it'll spin twice, and then you're going to catch it in the same exact spots where you caught your 360. So again, it's very important. Make sure that you're watching the neck. It's the most important part of the rifle that you're catching. Your left is also important, but all your left does is stop the spinning. You can catch a rifle without using your left hand. it's very hard to catch your rifle without catching it with your right hand. So, with that said, here is what a single looks like in full speed. That's 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2. Now, aside from that, here's how you toss consistently every single time. There are 3 rules that you need to follow when it comes to rifle tossing. You're going to want to make sure that you toss at the same height every single time. You're also going to want to make sure that you toss at the same speed every single time. And you're also going to want to make sure that you toss at the same angle every single time. The first one that I said was toss height. For a single, you can toss about here, shoulder height, okay? You just release from here. That is push, release. I'm releasing with my hand, and it's about this height. The second one that I mentioned was toss speed. And by toss speed, I mean you count 5, 6, 7, 8, and you are always releasing on count 1. Okay? So it helps if you count to yourself 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. By giving yourself a tempo, it's really going to help you anticipate when you should be catching, which is on count 2. If you're not timing out your catches, it's going to be very hard for you to catch because you're basically just going to be guessing when you need to reach out with your hands. And then finally, the other one that I mentioned was your toss angle. Your toss angle is going to be like this. It's close to a 45-degree angle because if you toss like this, and this is where you're releasing on count 1, your rifle is going to fly way over to this side. If you toss like this, and this is how you release, your rifle's going to go flying all the way that way. But this, if you toss like this, it's going to spin and it'll come right back down, right here in front of you. So you got toss height, toss speed, and toss angle. Toss from here, toss at here on 1, and toss at here on 1 at this angle. Okay? Again, just so that you can see it all happen again. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2. Every time you toss, make sure that you are concentrating on doing those 3 things consistently. If you concentrate on them every single time, it is going to greatly increase the chance of you doing your rifle tosses correctly every single time. So good luck. There's a lot of training and a lot of concentration. And again, just like your consecutives, the more of these you do, the more it will become muscle memory. So just make sure that you are trying and concentrating 100% of the time for 100% of your tosses. Good luck.